Star looks with the Gothic Beach Jeffree Star palette. I believe I used every single shade in this palette, even though some of the colors I didn't get to use properly, like that beginning peach one from today, because I was just trying to use all the colors and see what it looked like on my eye. Peach one wasn't bad. You still see some of the color. It didn't completely disappear. There's a lot of positive and negatives to this palette, which I just wanted to quickly do like a rundown at the end. Gothic Beach palette. Do I like it? Do I recommend it? I do like it. And I do recommend it for the people who might be interested in something like this. And first of all, let me just mention, I'm wearing magnetic lashes. I wear magnetic lashes for each one of these looks, and for some reason, I can't really get them to stick. This is kind of the first time I've ever worn magnetic lashes. This one definitely did not stick. I had to glue this one down today after 3 days of it kind of doing whatever the hell it wanted. Okay, I'm done. Moving on. This palette, I think... Okay, there's a lot I want to say, which... Does this come off? I feel like you can open this. I think this comes off. Okay. Wait, does it lock? Does this lock? You turn it and then it opens? Or does this do anything? I don't know. I don't think it does anything. It doesn't do anything. It is a little hard to open it. It does lay flat. That was pretty cool. I remember someone, I think it was Rich Lux, talking about the breakup of this palette. And that had a lot to do with, oh, we have this row here that's giving beach, we have this row here that's giving Halloween, because I believe this is coming out in September, and then we have this row here that's giving goth. And once he said that, I thought, okay, I see the vision, I understand, that makes a lot more sense when you take those shades and you split them up like that. Like, that makes sense to me. Now that I've actually tried it, it doesn't make sense to me. I don't know if I get it. This palette is definitely goth. It's very much giving gothic. I don't think this palette is giving beach. Because when I saw this row of neutrals of browns, I thought beach, right? Warm oranges, browns. But once I applied them, they're a lot darker than I thought I was expecting, which, positives of this palette, incredibly pigmented. Each shade individually, absolutely beautiful. Just some of the best formula that he's come out with in the past recent years. The formula in this is amazing. But together, I don't know if this makes sense. The shimmers in here, oh, these two might be the shimmers, but this one might be the only actual shimmer. Everything else felt more like a satin. It felt more like a satin, so it wasn't incredibly sparkly or smooth to apply. It was just, it's just more of a, like a, I guess a weaker shimmer, but it was still pretty. There was some light there, but not the level of intensities of shimmers that I like. Actually, these two. Macabre, Manners, and Sunrise Slut I would actually call shimmers. Every other shade was a satin and a matte. So, I really like, I think the middle row is really cool. I love how pigmented Oh Boy and Beach Ball Breaker were. Those were really pretty. I always love when light colors actually translate to what you see in the palette onto your skin. So that's awesome. I think all these shades are great. I just don't know, which is why I think we would all pretty much agree that color story wise, this feels like one of his weaker palettes. Even though formula wise, chef's kiss. The formula in this is so good. It is so pigmented. It is definitely very goth. I think that, I don't know about everyone else's knowledge, obviously, but to me, browns are still very goth. I think that if you're familiar with the goth community, you kind of know that browns are very kind of trad goth, and it's still, browns, I think a lot of people just think of black, but brown is still very goth. You have the purples here that still feel like within that space, and all of these are just absolutely so pretty and wonderful. Is it bite marks and fishnet fix? But bite marks specifically, this very, very like maroony kind of shade right there. It's so pretty and it's so pigmented. I wish I could. That is, it's so nice. I want to shine a light on it so maybe you can see those darker colors a little bit better on the camera. And then you could also see some of the shimmer, because that Parasol Passion has kind of like a gold green shimmer in it, and that's why I applied it today the way I applied it. But you can see that bottom row is really pretty, really dark. So that is why I do recommend it, but I can understand why this palette ended up not being probably as popular as it might have been 5 or 8 years ago. This is, I feel like, no one's mentioned it, but I think this palette is the, because y'all remember the cremated palette came out, right? And it was kind of advertised as like the goth palette, and it was just white to grays to black, and there was no color. This feels like a companion palette to that palette. This feels like a cremated kind of part 2, because this is super goth and not very beach and not very neutral. But also, I was thinking about this last night as well, because I think the alt community has always been very daring, artistic, bright, and all that, and I don't know if, because I'm old, y'all, I'm getting old, I don't know what's popular makeup-wise in the alt community right now, but I don't think it's eyeshadows. So I think for the old school, kind of more artistic people, this is probably a really great palette, because look at this really crazy beautiful night look that I'm wearing in the daytime right now. This would be so pretty during nighttime. I really like how intense this is, which, by the way, holy shit, these last so long. All I've done all 4 days is apply a concealer as a base. I haven't put any primer or anything like that, and these last until I shower. It lasts all day. It's so pigmented. The colors are really amazing here. Like I said, individually, the shades in here just work so well. I know most people probably aren't a fan of the color story, but I think that if you were interested in this, and this is definitely something that's caught your eye, I would recommend it. This is a good palette. I'm going to continue holding on to this for a bit longer. I don't know if I'll eventually maybe end up giving it away, because like today's look that I'm wearing today definitely reminds me of a look that I did when I was trying the Chucky palette, the Valentine's Chucky palette from Glamlight. She was giving this. I also have, my cremated palette has been depanned. I gave away certain of the shades, and I took some shades out of my conspiracy palette and I put them into my cremated palette, because I was like, girl, nobody needs that many grays, which I didn't. The cremated palette is definitely more of an MUA palette. So I added reds and purples and greens to my cremated palette. And what do we have in this palette, which is a little bit open, but something similar to the same thing, where we're looking at reds and purples and greens. Those are the shades that I added to my cremated palette. Now this does have more of a brown element, but I feel like the browns in here definitely are a lot deeper and much more pigmented than before. It's got a simple kind of casing. It's definitely not gonna, I feel like this isn't gonna fly open. This is not gonna fly open. It's actually a little bit, you gotta give it a little tug to open it, and then it is open because it is quite tight, but that's good because now you won't have your shades and everything flying over. What did y'all think? Was I giving goth for the past 4 days? What's your take on this palette? I would love to hear down below. You'll have a great day.